My name is Chaun Miller. I'm 25. I was born in Washington, D.C., raised out in Prince George's County, Maryland. My family structure was, for the most part, a family of four. My dad was there in the earlier stages of my life, but certain circumstances, as the years went on, kind of dwindled out. My mom is born and raised in Washington, D.C., and my father is from Cologne, Panama. So early on, when he was there, it was cool. Like, my dad was a dad, it was real cool. The people who lived around Spring Hill Lake, around them stages, they just knew him as this foreign dude. He looked just like me, but he was a real cool dude, but he's aggressive at the same time. I'm the youngest of three from my mother and my father's children, but I have the oldest sister who's the oldest. Then I have a brother, that's my mother's oldest, and my sister, and I'm her youngest. And I got two younger brothers, they're in high school right now. I didn't really understand the effects until I got a little older, but the family structure was a little chaotic at times, just being as though my dad in and out the streets, you know what I'm saying, in and out of jail at times. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of love. My mother provided a lot of love till this day. She's like the foundation. Back then, that balance just wasn't there, you understand? So my mother is doing everything that she can and more, and and again, I don't fault my father. I love my father to this day. He's a king in my eyes, and I just look at, now that I'm a father, I just, I don't understand everything that he did. I can't say that I vouch for everything that he did, but at the same time, I understand when your judgment is clouded, when your emotions, can sway you, and you just, so he was doing what he thought was best. I feel like he always loved us, to this day, now that we can have a consistent FaceTime conversation, on a day-to-day basis. I feel like my days go better that I talk to him, on a day-to-day basis. But growing up, it was a lot of chaos when he was there, and then there was also a lot of chaos when he wasn't there, because when my mother is trying to manage 3 different personalities on her own and provide and things of that nature, it was hard. My brother introduced basketball to me when I was about 7 or 8 years old. We lived out Spring Hill Lake. We lived in townhouses that led right down to the court, and it was like a cage, you know what I'm saying? And bruh found a way to manipulate the lights, and it's summer. So I'm 7, 8 years old, so we 5 years apart. And we out there, man. Mondoose know, it's suburban at the end of the day. This the lake, and things ain't get as bad as they could have, or that they did as the years went on. You know what I'm saying? As I should say. So it was safe. You feel me? And it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I remember vividly, man. My brother used to have me out there, but that was just one of them things that to this day, whenever people talk to me about how I was able to have the basketball experiences that I had, I definitely always give that kudos to my brother. There was 2 vivid points in my life that I just felt like, everything was crashing. When I first got to college, I had gotten to a point where I felt like, the whole team was there, you know what I mean? And sometimes I just felt like talent-wise, I just, I couldn't keep up. So, I had dedicated a certain amount of months where I was just grinding, man, just putting in the extra work, minimizing, all the fun and things of that nature, and really just grinding. And I really started to see, a difference in my game. And, when my son's mother got pregnant, a lot of things changed, a lot of things changed within me, mentally, emotionally. I didn't really know what I was doing. Didn't really have the right guidance, or, I just couldn't relate. We would have a lot of disagreements, a lot of things going on campus, a lot of with me, living, being a college dude, what I'm saying? But doing a lot of things with, different females and things of that nature. that, you know, ultimately you could see how, you know, playing with, you know, a woman's emotions, things of that nature can make her feel certain ways, you know. So I can understand what things that I was doing wrong during those times that put me in those situations, you know what I mean? For whatever the case may be, I ended up flunking out. You know, I had did all this stuff to, you know, prove myself on the basketball court. You know, I wasn't, you know, All-American or anything like that, man, but I saw myself go from, you know, probably like, you know, the 13th out of a, you know, 14, 15-man roster. And I'm talking about we had some ballers. These guys were talented basketball players. And, you know, as I got better and to see, you know, where I couldn't compete, where I felt like I couldn't compete, and just when I first walked in, didn't understand the process of, you know, it's a whole new grind, you're a freshman again, things of that nature, just was like slowly, you know, sinking in. And again, it goes back to like that preparation. I wasn't prepared for college, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't prepared for that process. I wasn't prepared mentally, you know what I mean? Yeah, my mom had talked to me, you know what I'm saying? But like, it hadn't set in enough, you know what I mean? Then on a day-to-day basis, I just wasn't attached enough, you know, to be able to stay grounded. I had did all this stuff, man, to prove myself and start to really see a lot of results and getting recognition and seeing it for myself on the court in my play. And, you know, her getting pregnant, and, you know, academically, I started to, you know, really lose focus, you know, for the focus that I did have. And, you know, I started doing a lot of uncharacteristic things, man. I'm traveling to North Philly from Bryn Mawr. If you know anything about Pennsylvania, whatever the case may be, my school, Hawthorne College, a little bit outside of Philly. And I'm traveling in the middle of the night, going down to North Philly by myself on public transportation. In the middle of the night when I got class in the morning, I probably should have went to the weight room and hooped, and, you know what I'm saying, got some shots up there, things that I was doing, but my mind was, you know, lost, you know what I mean? Like me going to be a father, just like, you know, that just kind of like made me feel like it was all over, you know what I'm saying? If I would have had, you know, and I could say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but at the time I felt like if I would have had, you know, that bold enough presence in my corner to be like, you know, yeah, okay, you know, you're having a baby, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, we should do this. You know, help me establish a plan of action, whereas though when I got into that process of flunking out and things of that nature, you know, I just jumped at the first thing that came through, you know what I'm saying? And I was blessed to get another Division I junior college scholarship where I didn't have to come out of pocket, my mother, you know, so I didn't approach college in necessarily the same mindset that other college students step into, not understanding the risk that my mother had to take. My son ended up being born, man, and I got another opportunity, so to speak, to play out Colorado, man. And you know, my son was exactly, you know, he was born on July 11, 2013. I left for Colorado August 11th. 2013 to start my second year of college in a rural town called Lamar, Colorado, where, you know, we fly into Denver, and then you gotta take a 3-hour car ride to the college, you know what I'm saying, after your flight. And you know, it was cool because I started that process out there with my boy Taiwan Kinley. We went out there as roommates and things of that nature, and, you know, I started out pretty good. And, you know, and then like me trying to live life as a college student and focus on college basketball and, you know, focus on getting my grades in order, because ultimately the goal is still to get another Division I scholarship and to, you know, get out there and, you know, start out good, and then boom, I get caught smoking. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't really get caught smoking in the act, but I got caught in the hot box. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of changed the whole perception of the coach, his vision, his view of me. You know what I'm saying? I already came out of this situation, and it kind of was like I felt like I kind of like, you know what I'm saying, you know, let him down. And, you know, one thing about me that, you know, as I got older, to really learn myself a little bit, was that one thing, and I'm sure this had a lot to do with my father probably not being in the picture. It's like when it came to coaches and my performances, you know, it was something in me that I needed them to believe in me. I needed to know my coaches believed in me. And, I carried myself as this happy-go-lucky, confident kid, woo-woo, but let me have a string of bad games in a row. That weighed on my mental as a teenager, you know what I'm saying? That gave me anxiety of needing to perform. And, for 4 years of playing varsity in my high school, my coaches, he just had an abundance amount of confidence. And until this day, through all of, what I would, used to say failures and things of that nature, he never look down on me, you know what I mean? He'd always tell me about myself, and when he would, I would look at that time because I didn't know what tough love felt like from a man. You know what I'm saying? I would, man, coach don't like me no more, man. Coach, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, not really understanding, like, it's something that really, kind of hit me till this day. I hear it in my mind from time to time over the years. And one day he told me, like, I care about your future more than you do. You know what I'm saying? And for a long time, that didn't really sink in for me, But, so once my coach out Colorado kind of lost faith in me, you know what I'm saying? And I started to understand the business side of the collegiate level of basketball, whether it be junior college, NAIA, D1, D2, D3. There's a lot that goes into it. Just understanding that, like, I felt like I let him down, and, I was very inconsistent, so, I kind of got out of the doghouse with coach, but, I have a string of games where I might have this points, I might score a lot, I might not, you know what I mean? I had like a string of games I played very well, and then, I ultimately ended up not playing so great down the stretch. And I didn't really get heavily recruited. So I made a commitment to myself, like the next school that I would go to, I didn't really perform out here. I kind of started to lose my desire to play, or even to reach my initial goal was to play Division I basketball. You know what I mean? Like, and you know what? Something hit me like, boom, I made this thing not panning out the way I expected, but, one thing that never stopped me in my mind was, this kid need me, you know what I mean? Whereas though, I left. Next time I seen my son after I left, the first, after that month I was with him was Christmas. Went back to school, I ain't seen him again until spring break, and left again, I ain't seen him again until the end of the semester, you know what I'm saying? And after that whole process, I got back home, and and I'm taking direct flight. I'm not coming home first, I'm taking direct flights to Philly. You know what I'm saying? And I just made a commitment to myself that the next situation I would go into, I would bring my family with me. Came back, I ended up getting an opportunity. Coach Rupp, he's like he's real good, he's real big in the football world in PG County. Won a lot of state championships over at Wise High School. And, he ended up putting me in contact with Steve Showman, coach at Lehman College. And I got out there, and I didn't really understand what I was getting myself into, not really understanding the way New York works. I got family in New York. Not knowing every train ride is like, from Brooklyn to the Bronx, it's like 2 hours sometimes, you know what I mean? And just not really understanding what I was getting myself into. But I knew one thing that, that coach wanted me, you know what I mean? Not understanding that maybe I was, going a little bit lower, but I just needed a program that was willing to accept my situation, you know what I mean? And just to be able to finish what I started, you know what I mean? Even if it wasn't where I wanted it to be. But, and in that process, man, I was really battle tested. And immediately, reality kind of set in. We went from staying with my cousin in Brooklyn, where this dude didn't even tell his mother that we was coming. Things were just, the mother, she had something lined up that ended up not, so we was just in a frenzy of uncertainty. It first started out with, my lady wasn't working. My lady at the time wasn't working. And, so she was staying at my cousin's house, a foreign place for her. No work, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning. And, I'm taking trips from, all the way up to the Bronx, for school and, for workouts. And I did that for a couple of months and, until right before the season started. A little after that time, I was staying with my guy, Jonah. my boy Nene introduced me to, was one of my teammates, introduced me to a band by the name Alpha Blount. And up until that point in my life, I had come to terms, not just what call it good or bad, but I had come to terms with people wanting to do things for me because I could, I was good at basketball, certain things being provided for me, or people doing certain things for me, whatever the case may be, because, I could help their team or whatever the case may be. I was an asset. But this was like one of the lowest points in my life, and this man just genuinely, when he first started to be nice to me and, want to give me rides after the game, and, not just me, but, your whole family, I took take them to Jonah House, did you eat? Do you got money? Does your kid have milk, diapers, And I'm like, yeah, and I don't got a cent in my pocket, but I'm just hesitant, you know what I mean? Because again, I've never been used to that type of, love. So I kind of backed off of him, he was, he helped me out for a little bit, and I kind of, and however the case may be, he got wind again that I was gonna come back. He told me, he was like, man, I ended up coming back. Now, he was the first person I met when I got to New York. He met me on 86th Street on the east side of Manhattan. And, we went and got some food, and he looked at me, he like, man, I'm gonna be here for you. I had an abundance amount of opportunities, and through that process, I kind of had an epiphany of understanding the responsibility I had. I ended up, working the camp. And just so happened I get to talking to the lady at the front desk, and I tell her, yeah, I go to Lehman College, I'm working the camp today. What can I do to get a job here? You go to Lehman? Oh, I went to Lehman. Let's talk after the camp. Just so happened after the camp, it concludes, I ended up winning. They're giving out the awards, for the, the most improved player and the most whatever to the kids, and they give out one coach's award. I received a coach of the camp award. And a couple weeks later, I had a job at that facility. That just gave me like that's just like another one of those moments that I kind of connected with God, just like, I desire something, and big skills, small skills, whatever you want to call it, but that's kind of like what I related to, you know what I'm saying? I wanted it, and you know what I mean? I was just able to be in a position to get what I wanted, you know what I mean? That's divine to me. Just me being in that setting, I had to get comfortable with being in a different environment, and people asking me weird questions about my hair and looking at me funny, like, like I'm gonna take something, or you know what I mean? And once I cut my hair, and being 2 years in this, in this area, because my face was known from working at the facility to training the kids to, years down the line, my first and second year working at the Amber Charter School, I was not only the head coach, started the basketball program at the school to I was doing that and coaching up in Hastings and training up in Hastings. So my coach creating an AAU program, and I'm coaching 4 teams, 4 different age groups on my own, and him just overseeing and pretty much running my own program. I'm now starting to adopt sayings and moral codes, and it may sound funny to anybody else, but this is me creating my foundation and my moral codes, and for my children, for them to have something to go off of substance, for them to be able to, when they may go astray and they have the temptations of the world, that they can be, brought back to reality. When it comes to breaking certain habits and trying to, really be better, you talking 15, 20 plus years of living a certain way, of thinking a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So just the people out there who, really look up to me, or who watching this, or who may watch this, just the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in that gut feeling. Believe in that instinct right here. Believe in that little voice that's telling you to, you know, get up. That little voice that's telling you to keep going. That little voice that's telling you that, yeah, you know, you missing out, but you sacrificing this. And listen to that, because, you know, with me going through all that I've gone through and me still not fully understanding my why, me adopting that attitude has carried me over to be able to continue to go and to still believe that I have hope, that I'm going to be a successful man. I'm Chaun Miller, aka Sean Deuce. I'm a gladiator.
A lot of times in life we feel like we're alone. We feel like we're the only ones that's going through the struggle, that no one can relate. And I feel like this is a platform and web series that's going to be able to let you know that the struggles that you're going through, the life experiences that you're going through, you're not the only one.
Story time with Joe.